All right, if you would grab your Bibles, turn to Genesis chapter 39. That's where we are this evening. Genesis chapter 39. We're going to pick up again with Joseph. And we're at the point here in Genesis 39 where Joseph has been sold into slavery in Egypt. And we see in this chapter where Joseph is bought by Potiphar, who's one of the officers of Pharaoh, right? And so when Potiphar buys him, he recognizes, as we see in verse 2, the Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of the Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight, and attended him. He made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. So Joseph, as we recall, was almost murdered by his brothers, but instead of killing him, they sold him. And then the Ishmaelites brought him down to Egypt to sell him as a slave, and he's bought by Potiphar. And Potiphar recognizes pretty quickly that whatever this young man puts his hand to, it's good, it's successful. So Potiphar, in recognizing that, puts his entire household into Joseph's hand. And you think about the situation that Joseph came out of, right? His brothers throwing him in the dry well or in the cistern, and then selling him off, really close to killing him. It's not really a good time, right? You kind of not really having the greatest of times there, right? And then he gets sold into slavery here, and he probably didn't have too high hopes, right, becoming a slave. But then God helps him in his situation, and he kind of rises to the top, if you will, of being noted to be successful because God is helping him to be so. Right, helping him in everything that he does. But just like in our own lives, and we'll see here with Joseph, sometimes when we're being successful and things are working well, Satan is just kind of lying in wait. He's waiting for that opportunity to be able to trap us or to get us. And in this particular case, Satan takes the form of Potiphar's wife, right? And so she comes after Joseph to try and trap him because she finds him very attractive, right? And so basically Joseph puts her off and puts her off and puts her off until there happens to be one day, and I'm sure she kind of had this set up, where there wasn't anybody else in the house. And when Joseph comes in, she grabs a hold of his garment, right, his cloak that he has on. And so he leaves it behind, flees the house. And so then she uses that situation to be able to frame Joseph, trying to say that he was trying to hurt her, because he left his garment behind. And he ran away quickly because she screamed, all the other things that she puts out there. And so then again, Joseph goes from being successful and being recognized, being attacked in this situation, and then he's thrown in prison again. So he goes from being thrown in a cistern to being sold into slavery, rising up, and then being tossed into prison again. So it's this up and down roller coaster ride that Joseph is walking through. But again, while he is in prison, in verse 21, it says, "But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison." And so then again, the keeper of the prison starts giving him duties and things, and he recognizes that God is with him and allows him to take care of whatever he needs to take care of. So he rises again in that poor situation that he's in to a position of respect and honor and things of that nature. And so in our lives, it very much so mirrors what we see as we read about Joseph, right? He goes through these times where things are successful and working well, and then the times where he probably kind of questions, like, God, are you even there? My own brothers are throwing me in a cistern. I was doing great, and then I get framed for something I didn't do, and I get tossed in prison, right? And so we see this up and down the whole time. And many of us will find ourselves in different aspects of our lives similar to what Joseph is going through. And even though we may be in the difficult time or in the successful time, the kicker is to remember that God is the one who is guiding and planning and taking care of the situation. But then also, Satan is there. Genesis chapter 4 and verse 27 says, when God is talking to Cain, he says, "Sin is crouching at the door, and its desire is to have you, to control you, to enslave you, to kill you." Right? And so no matter where you are, Satan, sin, all those things, that's waiting for an opportunity. Peter describes it in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 through 11, as a roaring lion going around looking for someone to devour. Right? And in that chapter there, he says, pay attention. Be watchful. Be on your guard. And he says, resist him. James tells us in James chapter 4 that if you resist Satan, he'll flee from you. He wants an easy target. He don't want to put up a fight. He can go find somebody else that's an easy target. So you resist him, and then you draw near to God, and God will draw near to you. And so we see these things as they come through. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 27 tells us, do not give Satan a foothold, right? But don't give him an opportunity to be able to set up in your life and create problems for you, right? And regardless of whether or not Satan is attacking you, whether or not you feel like you're in the successful wave or you're in the being tossed in the bottom of the cistern or in jail phase, always remember God is there. He is taking care of you, and He's the one that we serve, right? And we always do what we can, no matter what our situation is, to honor Him and to put Him first. So tonight, think about what period are you in? Are you in a period of success? Are you in a period of difficulty? Maybe you're in between. And then what are you doing regardless of that to be able to honor God with your life, to be able to honor Him with who you are? And are you resisting Satan, or are you giving him an open door? So tonight I encourage you to resist Satan, to close those doors that he's trying to come in on, right? And draw near to God, recognizing whether you're in a difficult time or an easy time, always draw near to God. So that's my lesson for you this evening. If you need the prayers of the church, you need anything that we can help you with, now's your time, as Riley leads us in our song.